What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another video. It is here. The Nano Cortex has arrived. You've probably seen 5 million videos by now. But the purpose of my video is not to show you the Nano Cortex, which I will do in another video, but what I proposed in a Facebook group, based on some experimentation that I had done. So I have this all-in-one preset, which you'll see on the screen here. And right now, the way it's set up, rows 1 and 2 is my amp. Rows 3 and 4 are dedicated delay and reverb. And I'm controlling the mix with these transparent blends with my expression pedals, so that everything stays 100% wet. And what's cool is I can back the mix off and the delays will trail, versus controlling the mix of the delay, which cuts the trails of the delay off. And it basically makes it a wet dry rig, essentially. So my thought process here was, I was like, okay, how can I get more resources on the rows 1 and 2, or free up resources? Because I use outboard compressors. So I've got a Cali 76 stacked edition that's on my board, which I love. But I thought, if I do a preset for other people, I want them to be able to use that preset too. So, but the problem I'm having, if you look over here onto the app, is if I go to try to add a compressor, they're all grayed out. There's no more DSP. I can't add anything. I literally can't add. I might be able to add like an EQ or something, but I literally can't add anything fun, like no overdrives, nothing. So I was like, man, I want to be able to add a compressor, but I don't want to lose anything that I've already got in there, right? So I thought, man, this is a great opportunity to make a capture of the amp in every one of my scenes where I'm using combinations of the clean one. I use the most combinations of, because I'm using, I was using a drive, I was using a drive, a capture of my Revival drive, going into a capture of a Mesa Boogie Fillmore clean amp. And I was like, man, if I could get that down to one capture, then surely that will free up resources. So I embarked on this little test to see, how that would pan out, and how, if it would feel right, sound right. And it works. I mean, and I'm going to show you that. So I've got 8 scenes in groups of 2. So I've got my clean before the merge, and then a clean after the merge. So you see how now I'm down to basically just showing the one capture. Then I go to the low gain, where I'm using 2, or basically I'm using a drive and a capture of the Soldano X88 or 88X, X88. And so you can see I have it down to 1. Medium gain, same thing, 2 to 1. High gain, 2 to 1. Then I've added a looper here so that I can basically play a little riff. So I can play a little riff and then kind of go preset to preset, and you can kind of hear. The only thing I had to modify was like the level of the capture was hotter than the level of the captures as they are currently. So to level match, I had to adjust had to reduce the levels of the captures. All right, so I'm gonna go into I hope all this makes sense, what I'm trying to achieve here. But what's gonna blow your mind is just going from 5 to 3, the amount of resources that I've freed up. I added a compressor, I added another cab, I added an ambient reverb, and I added 2 modulation blocks by going just from 5 to 3. I'll show you. So this is the preset that I kind of wound up with. So, okay, I take that back. No, yeah, so I went from 5 to 3. I was able to add this compressor. I was able to add this cabinet. I was able to add this reverb and these 2 additional modulation blocks. Or there was one already there, but there's 2. I'm like, how did I going from 5 to 3 free up so many resources on rows 1 and 2? I don't know, and I don't care. It's awesome. I was so excited. All right, so let's do this. So I'm gonna record like a little loop. So you can hear, I mean, they're virtually identical, right? So if I go back to the 1A preset. If I go to the pared down version, right? Back to the original. Sounds good, right? All right, so now I'm gonna go to the low gain. So this is the low gain original one. The way I use this low gain one, I don't use it really for gain. Like bridge, I kind of use it more for neck position. It's kind of a little more nastier neck position tone. So that's the original one, right? This is the pared down one. I'll record like a little riff and I'll go back and forth. switch from scene to scene, the tone takes a second to catch up because of the way I have the blend stuff set up. But once it settles in, you hear the tone. The tone's the same. I mean, it's you know, to say that's identical. Obviously, you can't say that it's identical. I'd have to do like an EQ match and see. It'd be interesting to do, and I may do that in another video. So that's low gain. So medium gain. So again, I'll record a little riff. I mean, it's close enough for me. I mean, it feels the same under the finger. So, you know, again, is it identical? I don't want to make that claim. But it sounds good to me, and in a mix, you're definitely not going to be able to tell the difference. But the important thing is that it feels the same. And I get the added bonus of being able to be more creative with my preset and incorporate more fun stuff, right? So going to the high gain, right? So that's the original one. This is the condensed version. But I'll record a little riff. Again, as close as, I mean, it's not like I even tried to make them match, you know what I mean? I mean, I just did. When you do the capture on the Nano Cortex, there's an option on there that basically lets you, it alternates between the source and the capture. And you, in your ears and your headphones, it's imperceivable. You cannot tell the difference. It's crazy. So again, the whole purpose of this experiment is to show that, hey, this is, I mean, why anybody wouldn't want one of these, which obviously doesn't have anything to do with this video necessarily as far as functionality of this guy, other than it does captures, which is crazy that it does this without any software. I mean, I have the Tonex somewhere. I don't even know where it is because I never use it. You know why? Because the software is terrible. It's terrible. It stresses me out. Making captures with that thing is a nightmare. I can't ever remember what the knobs do. You got to long press this and then turn this way for that and turn it this way for that. It turns this color for this, that, and the other thing. Bro, you need like a master's degree in calculus to retain how to do anything on that pedal. I hate it. I got it because I wanted those Satriani presets. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make captures of those Satriani amps for my Nano Cortex. Hello, it's gonna be awesome. But anyway, and then I won't have to ever mess with the with the Tonex ever again. I can't. I hate it. Sorry. I had the full size Tonex, and I actually wish I still had that because of the screen. You can see what you're doing, and I don't know if it's my age, if I'm just too old to my my tolerance level is like that, you know, for that kind of stuff. But anyway, again, why somebody wouldn't want to have this, especially if you're traveling. I mean, to be able to power with a USB-C, I've got it plugged right into my laptop here. It's just amazing. I hate cables. I don't want to have to carry around an extra power supply or, oh crap, I forgot my power supply. You don't have to worry about any of that. And just sitting with this and practicing, you know, with headphones on, it sounds amazing. When I first got it, I plugged in headphones, first preset on there, blown away. Much like the Quad Cortex when I got it. These are the only devices that I've ever had. Well, I won't say that only. The Kemper is the only other one where when I plugged in the first time and it sounded amazing. The first thing I plugged in. 11 rack, I had buyer's remorse for a while until I figured out how to dial that thing in. I had the FM3. It sounds great. But the option paralysis stressed me out. I end up getting rid of that in favor of the Quad Cortex. What else have I had? So I've got the Kemper. Of course, I've got a regular pedal board, which I love because you can just tweak them. Anyway, going back to this. So all of that to show you, okay, like I said, if I want to add a compressor or anything, reverb, grayed out. What else? You want to add an overdrive? Nope. I'm maxed out on rows 1 and 2. Can't add anything. All right. So I basically got rid of those. This guy, that guy, that guy, that guy, that guy. So those 5 are gone. In this next preset that I'm about to show you. So again, this was my test. So what I have now is this is the low gain capture, the high gain capture. This is the clean Mesa capture. Basically the clean. Basically it's the clean revival drive going into the Fillmore clean. Basically, so I've got these 3, right? And then for and all I'm doing for a medium gain is I'm just increasing the gain on this capture right here, so I don't have to use another capture. Makes sense, right? The only reason that these 2 are separate, or these are 2 separate captures that I made of the Soldano. So, and they had one was channel 2 and one was channel 3. That's why they're different. Although I probably could use one or the other and reduce the gain or add the gain and actually get it down to just 2 captures potentially, and then use scenes to control the level of gain to create my low, medium, and high gain. But the point is I've added a cabinet, another cabinet, added a compressor where I've basically mirrored or tried to replicate the settings on the Cali 76 with this. And it's the legendary 87. I've added this stereo DC2W chorus, the Wazacraft Dimension C, right? And then I also added this chorus over here. So I added a chorus, another chorus, a cabinet, and this ambient reverb too. And so I'll go through and show you kind of my thought process on this preset. So from a clean perspective, whoops, what did I do? All right, I always forget to go back into scene mode. All right, so clean. What I was going for here, is basically like a studio clean. So I've got row 1 going into a compressor, and then it's basically direct guitar, and you could actually bypass the cabinet too. So you know how in the 80s where they basically would take a dry guitar signal and go straight into the board for clean stuff, and then also a rack processed signal as well going through a preamp. That's kind of what this is emulating here. So I'm getting a little ambient reverb. I'll bypass the cabinet to show you what it sounds like. So I'm basically blending in that clean, non-amp clean in with the clean from the rival drive going into another cabinet, and then that's going all the way out. There, this transparent, and then kind of going back to how I have this transparent blend set up. So I got this transparent blend set up basically. Let's see. So these transparent blends are set up to be fed by this gain block, which is this guy right here. Yeah, that gain block. I don't know. Is that pointing at something else? Anyway, yeah. So it's taking everything through that chain up to this gain and passing it to these transparent blends, which is feeding the wet effects. And then my expression pedals are controlling the mix of this transparent blend. So these are always on. And the thought process, which I've probably said this before in other videos, is I don't want to have to set up a preset, this scene with a little bit of delay, reverb, this preset, or this scene with a lot more delay, I'm basically just kind of mixing on the fly how much reverb and delay that I want. And the scenes I'm basically just exclusively using to just go from clean, medium gain, or low gain, medium gain to high gain. So I usually have this in hybrid mode, so that then the top row is basically instant access for various effects. And I'm still working on this preset. I know I had in another video. Now, when I came across this revelation, that preset that I said I was going to sell, I'm not going to sell it anymore. I might make it to where if you want to donate to the channel, then by all means, I will allow that. But the more I thought about charging people, it's just kind of not in my DNA to go that route, because what I realize is I spent a lot of money on some presets before, and you're always disappointed because ultimately it's not always going to sound like the person that's demonstrating it, because you've got your own hands, the tone that's coming from your hands, and how your guitars and your pickups and there's so many factors involved that if I can't assure somebody's going to get exactly when they play through it sound like me, then I don't feel right charging people for that. That's just kind of where I'm at. But again, I may set up something where if you want to donate, if it's a preset that you really love, you're like, man, this is awesome, then like a tip jar or whatever. But anyway, I'll worry about that later. So I'm still kind of building out this preset to do some cool stuff. So on the clean side, so I'm going to mute. So if I mute that, the dry or the non-amp clean sound. So this is, if I solo that, this is all that's coming out of that. I could probably boost the mix of it up a little bit. But you're not seeing. I apologize, I keep forgetting that you can't see on here what I'm doing over here. Anyway, like if I go into this, yeah. So what I'm doing is I'm increasing this gain right here. I'll turn that off. Make sure I'm not clipping. Now if I mute that, it's very subtle. Now if I mute this cabinet, let's see what it does. Let's solo it. So anyway, that's the thought process, but why I basically changed, why I added that cabinet and the ambient reverb. It's pretty awesome. If I go to, let's see, what is this? So if I go to a high gain, so as you can see, that's kind of why I have the high gain before the split, because I wanted to be able to bypass and only have the direct guitar signal go all the way out for clean stuff. So if I solo this is what that row sounds like without going through the delays and reverb. See, I have the volume turned way down. And what's oddly enough, the cabinet that I chose for this is the 212 rectifier with the ribbon and a 57. I didn't even change anything. I just picked that cabinet because it sounded good. So if I take and blend, so I'm going to mute it. So that kind of adds, you can kind of hear how it kind of because that's dry, aside from the ambient reverb, of course, which you could adjust, you know, the mix of that. I think it's pretty low. That's like 45%. Yeah, so that was the thought process. Again, I may not even keep that cabinet in there. My whole thing was, you know, how much more stuff can I add now? And look, I've even still got more DSP, so I could still add more stuff. That's the crazy thing about what okay. I took it from 5 blocks down to 3. I reduced 2 blocks. How am I freeing up that much more DSP? It's crazy to me, right? So it's kind of neat. I could add a fuzz if I want to add a fuzz, because I don't have that in here. I could add the rodent drive, which I could add that back in, that was actually the drive that I was captured in the capture. Kind of had it set to the Nano setting, you know, to kind of tighten up low end or whatever. But dude, it's crazy. So again, I mean, if you have a Quad Cortex, and believe me, I'm not getting any money for this, but I mean, to be able to make captures of signal chains and free up even more DSP by kind of condensing your captures or your signal chains. Now granted, obviously if you want to tweak something, you know, if you have like a blues driver in front of something and you've got the gain set a certain way and you're like, oh, I don't want quite that much gain. Obviously you've got to recapture that chain. But I mean, like with me, once I get a tone, like when I'm playing at church, I'm never like, oh, I gotta adjust. I'm never tweaking. I do all my tweaking here, right? And if I do any tweaking, it's just to the basic treble, middle, and bass, or just, you know, overall level, right? I mean, I don't know. So the other reason why I was like, I can't sell this preset is because I'm using this Gojira cabinet. The Gojira Cab 2 stereo. It's amazing. It was the closest. I was using IRs before, some York IRs, which sound amazing. This cabinet, I was just kind of like, I wonder if there's any cabinets that sound like these IRs that I'm using. And I was using 2 IRs. This thing sounds better to me than those IRs that I was using. So if I'll put together a preset with another cabinet that's a generic one for people that don't have any of the plugins yet. You know, I don't want everybody to, and I'll get everything as close tonally as I can. But man, of course, you know, I only have 1 block left to add anything, but so I've got this, of course, this doubler in here. Oh yeah, I guess I didn't mean to have that on, but it sounds cool. So you hear, so that first row is muted, as far as the output is muted, right? But adding in that 212 like that, listen how it opens up. So awesome. just another, tone shaping. It's just like, just adds so many more possibilities to this preset, which already has a million things in it. So what do I have in it? Let's see, stomp wise. Oh, so I added, so at church, if we hit on a diamond or whatever, at the end of a song, I usually will kick this in. So it will be at like the end of a song, a little more delay maybe. And that just kind of lets things fade out longer in between songs, so it's not just like guitar and then no guitar. So that's why I do that. I got the dual reverse delay. Then the vibrato. Kind of like a textural thing to add on to so that's on the trails of the delay. And then a chorus on the trails of the delay too. And the mix of the delay, if I go all the way to toe, the way that I've got it mixed in, it makes it real prominent, more so than if it's just in series, to me anyway. Cool thing too, so if I'm all the way to toe and I go immediately to heel, my trails don't die like they would do if you set your expression to control the mix of the delay. So that was the other reason why I did this. And I've got a couple different reverbs down here. I've got the Plenty reverb, and what else do I have? Oh, there we go. That was weird. I didn't mean to turn that off. Anyway, so I got a modulator reverb and the Plenty reverb. The two that I'm using in this. And I don't know that I can add any more stuff. Well, I can. So I've got plenty of DSP on the rows 2 and 3, I guess. Maybe. Let's see. Yeah. So I could still add more stuff on there as well. So what I did add, so this guy right here, so I added a chorus, mainly for, so for the clean, basically. That's with the dimension D or C on. And then with the 2290. Oh, so what else did I add? I had a... added this tremolo. And that was mainly for so that's what that is. Yeah. And of course so I've also got, you know, the again, if I mute this, sounds killer. Anyway, sounds great, I think. All right, so I hope that my little video here has inspired you to experiment and come up with other possibilities for your Quad Cortex. If you don't have a Quad Cortex and you know you're like me and your funds are tight, I mean, if you're looking for something that can do captures and sounds amazing, let's say you need an audio interface, you know, you can this fills that void. And man, it just sounds great. The functionality is super cool. I'm sure you've seen in all the other videos. I'll do a video of this one as well, kind of going over it. But man, when I had that thought of combining captures into kind of condensing captures down, I thought, man, that's a game changer for me. And as you can see, I mean, it's insane how much DSP that freed up. I still can't wrap my head around why that is, but it did, and I'm happy about it. So, especially being able to add a compressor too, which all that, like as you heard, I didn't have my Kali 76 on at all. Once I went to this all-in-one test, turned my compressor off. I will show you real quick though. How close it is. Maybe on the, let's see. So like on the clean. So this is what it is on clean. Turn the compressor off. See how much gain. So this is compressor on. Compressor on. I'm still a fan of the outboard compressor, but this does the job. Man, it sounds great. Let me mute. I'm gonna mute this. Adding too much level, I think. So that's compressor on. Turn my compressor on. For me, the compressor, especially on clean stuff, it just gives you that chewiness, you know? You just don't get that chew. It's all about the chew. So I think that's going to be it for this video. It's probably really long. I think I've covered everything I wanted to cover. Obviously, I would love to have a backup whole Quad Cortex, but I don't have, $1,600 to drop on another whole unit. And it's just not practical for me. I only play at church. If I was gigging, I would definitely foot the bill for an additional one. But I tell you what, man, I literally could show up at church and with just this and play. I don't use like crazy wet, crazy effects outside of delay and reverb, which this has. I would have to set up presets probably, which I don't. Like when I'm playing, I have one preset. That's all I use. One preset, 4 scenes, and then 4 instant access. And the instant access stuff may change. I may, enable or disable certain things depending on the set list or whatever. But yeah, anyway, thanks so much for checking this video out. I hope that was useful for everybody. If you found that useful, feel free to subscribe. And I hit 3,000 subscribers, which is awesome. I think I'm at 3,020 or 30 or something like that. Things are kind of churning along. So I really appreciate everybody's support as always. And everybody's kind words. Like I said, if you have any questions at all, you might be able to find the post where I'm talking about this on the Facebook Quad Cortex. There's 2 of them, the official group and then there's the user group. But my name's Andrew, and yeah, you'll find me in there. But yeah, subscribe and like this video. It really does help. I've noticed that I seem to be reaching a lot more people. I'll get messages from a lot of people like, hey, I just found your channel. It's awesome. Like a lot of the 80s chorus stuff, people really like that. And especially the Tyler guitar fans and stuff. So it really does help, and I really, really do appreciate everybody's support. And if you have any questions, like I said, drop them in the video, in this video or wherever. I check that pretty regularly, so I'll get back to you pretty quick. And again, thanks again, and see you guys in the next video. Peace out.